All right, we're going to keep things going with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. from JTG Darty Racing. I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor. Does anyone have a question for Ricky? All right over there.
Hey Ricky, Davey Siegel with Front Stretch. You know what it's like to win the pole. You know what it takes to win the pole. Do you guys feel like you have what it takes tonight to get that done?
I mean, in 2020, we got done with practice, and I felt like we had a really good shot at it, and obviously we did. I asked Patty last night after practice kind of what his thoughts were of, qualifying and single car speeds, and it was kind of hard to kind of gauge who exactly was legit single car by themselves. But he kind of said probably 15th he would be happy with. So I guess similar to Kyle, I don't think we have a shot at the pole, but if we could be around 15th, I think we'd be happy with that. I'm pretty comfortable with how my car drives in the drafting that we have done, so I'll feel good for Thursday.
Zach Sterniola with Front Stretch. Ricky, I'm curious, you got the win here in 2017. What do you feel like it's going to take Sunday to win this race? And I saw you were working with, it looked like you were working with Kevin Harvick yesterday during second practice quite a bit. What were you able to learn just being out on the track with him?
Yeah, I think, it wasn't really planned to, go out there and work with him. We just made an adjustment that we wanted to kind of, get the car up to closer to pack speed and, just kind of feel that difference of what we had at the test. We made, another adjustment, to go kind of from your qualifying to your race setup, more simulating, Thursday night after qualifying. So went out there, made some runs, wanted to run around the top of the racetrack, knowing that, when it does single file out, that's where you're going to be. Track's a little bit rougher up there, so just kind of wanted to gauge on some of that, and then also kind of pulling down to pass. So, running the top, getting into the corner, peeling off and running the lower lane through the corner, back up to the top down the straightaway. Just kind of getting the feel of what this car feels like doing that, knowing that that's kind of how you got to make passes when it gets single file. So, for us, man, I don't really know what to expect a whole lot. I don't think you're going to know a lot until Sunday comes. I felt like I had a really good test here where we, basically simulated a race and actually were side by side pushing, side drafting, and I felt like I learned a lot there and probably more there than I'll learn, until Sunday comes.
Hey, Ricky, Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. I was just wondering, we've asked, most of the drivers, but what are you expecting the duels to be like? And there are certainly a lot of drivers, or several drivers, that really have to race their way in, so.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the ones that got to race their way in got to do what they got to do. They're not, I think a lot of those aren't worried about going to the next few races. So, they got one agenda, which is, part of what makes the duels cool is you got people on different agendas. You got the ones that qualified on the front row, not trying to tear their car up so that they can start there. You got the, kind of go or go homers that are, trying to make it. And then, I feel like you got a lot of us that are, you still don't want to go to a backup car, but you still want to learn and get as many points as you can. And, Patty wants 2 trophies, he says. He wants one Thursday and one Saturday or Sunday. So, for us, I feel like we're in a good position as a race team. We, as soon as allotments were able to be filled, Tad gave us the green light to go ahead and get everything going. And so we feel like we're in a good position as a race team with parts and pieces relative to maybe some of the other teams. But, you don't want to put yourself in a bind either. So Thursday could be, I feel like it's always exciting for a little bit, and then it kind of fizzles out and then gets more exciting again, obviously, at the end, when the checkered flag's coming out. So it'll be interesting to see.
in the back there.
Justin Farmer, Columbia, Missouri. And Ricky, a JTG downsized from 2 cars now down to 1. What's been the off-season like for JTG making this transition?
Heck, it's been a good off season really for us, and I think if there was a time to do it, it was now. I feel like we got more resources for our 1 car than we had for 2. I feel like we were kind of running maybe at a little disadvantage, a little thin, when we did have 2. So I feel really good about where we're at as a race team. Like I had just mentioned, I feel like parts and pieces and cars put together, we got a really good kind of assembly line of how we're building our cars and putting them together and kind of how the process is going. Got a good schedule laid out so far of upcoming races and which cars we plan on taking to where. Obviously, it was really good to get out of the clash with really no major issues, to our car, so we can, put that one right into the rotation. Some cars weren't as lucky, to do that. So, single car effort. I was able to be in every test, which I think was, beneficial. I was in the car for a lot of laps and, giving my feedback, every single race or every single test and also every single Chevy simulator test that we had, which, this is our first year that we've had access to that. And I think we've seen a benefit already. So we're looking forward to, using that more often.
So you're right. Mark Garrow with PRN. Ricky, does it feel like it's been 2 years since we've been to Fontana? The COVID thing, that kind of fell off the map, and being a rough, worn out racetrack, how do you think these cars are going to react to that, or how the race is going to be?
I think it's going to be fun. Obviously, the higher horsepower, lower downforce package that we landed on at the Charlotte test, I felt like it made racing better there, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun for a driver when you get to Fontana. We'll carry a lot of speed down the straightaway. You'll have to lift, maybe even use a little bit of brake when the tires get old, and I feel like obviously many lanes are open for options there, and so that'll be interesting and fun to get to. Definitely, we missed going there. I think we were all kind of bummed when we heard that it was going to be kind of reconfigured and somehow shoved on the front stretch, but I think we're looking forward to going back to the big track.
Mike Lisakowski, Pittsburgh Sports Radio. We've heard several times this morning about the parts availability. As a short track team owner, can you compare what's going on in the world of sprint car racing in any way with what's happening at this level?
Yeah, we kind of went through a period last year where we were a little bit nervous about tires and on the sprint car side. So parts and pieces as far as the chassis and suspension go on the sprint car side has been really good. We actually ran into a few issues last year where we had to run a backup engine that we didn't want to run based off of not being able to get parts to freshen up our engines throughout the season. So we had an engine that we placed on order in November, and we're hoping to get it in April. Just parts are hard to come by, and they're not leaving things on the shelf anymore. It's almost like you order and they make to your order, and so that's been a little bit tricky. Some of the tire issues that we had a little shortage on tires, but then now you get some inconsistency on tires. So there's a lot of things that could kind of cross over to that.
Any additional questions for Ricky up here? Lee?
Sheldon had a great opening to the season. What do you think? What are your expectations for him this year?
Yeah, I always think that we have an opportunity to compete and win for a championship. I feel like our equipment is really second to none. The top tier outlaw teams are all pretty solid on equipment. I think our guys are really good. We got some good veteran guys that have been on the road for a while. Sheldon's learned a ton. I felt like we had some really good get-togethers this offseason of how to make sure we put everything together and use everything that we have. And I mean, I think it showed. We had 3 completely different nights. At Volusia, track condition wise, draw wise, and just different situations that we were in. I felt like Sheldon did a really good job of getting the most out of the car over those 3 nights, and so I didn't really feel like we ever put ourselves in a bad position. So excited about that, and looking forward to the rest of the season. And we've been in contention, for top 3 in points, and we didn't do that. So I feel like this year we kind of have everything pointing in the right direction. I'll run some sprint cars every now and then. For sure, probably Talladega weekend. There's a 360 race there at Talladega at the short track. Working on trying to figure out some 410 racing stuff, and can't take anything away from my sprint car team to go race. As I mentioned, part shortages on engine side. So Dad and I are looking at building a 410 with him building it. So that'll be fun. Yeah, it was cool. Alex pitted right next to us, and it's funny. He's like, "Man, this is really difficult. Sprint car racing is tough. Some of the guys make it look really easy. Obviously, Kyle, jumping back and forth, it seems definitely easier to him. But it was really cool to see, and knowing that he doesn't have many starts, and I thought he did a really good job. And so the more you run him, the more comfortable you get. He's got a good group of guys that he put together to run his operations. So that'll definitely be beneficial to him.
Any additional questions? Thanks, Ricky.
Thank you.